Hey y'all, Boogie Night here. How's it going? Now, before I get started on today's review, as I've said before, today marks day one of what I call the Force March week. Now, what that entails is I'm going to be doing a review once a day based on your suggestions for better promoting this blog. And I encourage you, if you like what you see, share it with your friends. That being said, thank you so much for the suggestions I've gotten, but I still need one more movie. It can be at the theaters, it can be Netflix, Redbox, Amazon Video, Nefarious Means, doesn't matter. But I'm only saying there's two caveats. One, it cannot be an AFI classic because chances are I've already seen it. And two, it cannot be a porno spoof. Leave that to the cinema snob. That's his wheelhouse, not mine. Like I said, I just need one more. If not, I'm going to pick it out, and it may resort in another episode of Off the Rails, God forbid. So, that being said, let's get into today's review, because oh my god, fantastic. I feel like I've been getting the luck of the draw with these past movies between The Conjuring 2, Hardcore Henry, and now this. This movie is already going to be in my top 3 for the year, I guarantee it. I'm talking about The Neon Demon, a very excellent psychological horror film. Now, it's not psychological horror kind of like, previous stuff. I mean, it doesn't really have any supernatural elements to it. It's only way I can describe it is if Dario Argento from the Three Mothers era, who's one of my favorite directors, by the way, redid Black Swan with just a touch of Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. Like I said, just a touch. It's not enough to make it go completely crazy. It's a very well done film. Well, not Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. That movie was just a mind job. Straight up Gainax. But Neon Demon is fantastic. Like I said, it's kind of like Black Swan, but with modeling instead of ballet and whatnot, and theater. It's still show arts, but the way that it's paced and the atmosphere behind it, and just enough grit to keep you on the edge of your seat, it was just very, very well done. And I hope Nicholas, I'm gonna kill his name, Refn, continues to do material like this, because it was so worth it. And Elle Fanning, she takes the prize. And you even get Keanu Reeves playing a dirty old man who pretty much had been weird, creepy Eddie Redmayne from Jupiter Ascending. So, I'm not going to give away too many spoilers about this. I'm going to try and keep this in a nutshell. So, I'm not going to give a spoiler alert. I'm just going to give you a very big overview of it. And I apologize. I know you guys have been waiting for me to do a bad review on something because you want to see me rant and rave and stomp my feet and make very bad references to other movies that I actually liked. This movie's not one of them. Like Hardcore Henry, this is going to be on my pre-order list through Amazon as soon as I possibly can. It touched upon the darker side to the nth degree of the show arts. Now, mind you, I don't have any experience in that. But I have friends who are in theater, ballet, modeling, things like photography, those kind of. So I know it gets to the grit and things get a little bit on the superstitious side. But this was straight up, almost took an Elizabeth Bathory approach to it, which was fantastically done in the end. It's so hard to describe. I mean, Elle Fanning plays Jessie, an aspiring young model, and she and her, I guess, friend, lover, paramour, I'm not sure really. They go on a couple of dates, but the chemistry is just as friends, so I wouldn't even call them dates. But anyway, so Elle Fanning as Jessie plays an aspiring model, and she goes through the ringer. She has this natural grace and beauty to her that other aspiring models don't have. Enter Jenna Malone. She did a great job as one of the other actresses. She did a superb job. So, it just goes into the grit and the whole aspiring to be at the top of your game and the top of your caliber. But they do it in such a more grisly and dark, natural format. It's very well done if you can hack it. I knew some people during some of the scenes which I will get into. There are a couple of spoiler scenes that I'm going to give you guys, not to just give away scenes, but because it might be a slight trigger for y'all. I know it definitely made me kind of grimace at one point, but... So, she lives in a dilapidated apartment owned by Keanu Reeves. Such a dirty old man. Bill and Ted in The Matrix got nothing on this guy. He is such a creeper. I half expected him to say he was Mr. Z from Beyond the Valley of the Dolls at that point, except without the drugs. So she's doing these modeling jobs, and she's getting constantly praised for her natural beauty, and she doesn't have any cosmetic surgery, and she gets that, and she's also very modest about it. She's kind of the anti-model. But her colleagues and associates are very pissed off about this because they're getting shunted to one side, and she's kind of getting this natural ego thing going on, like, you know, she's doing what it takes, and I respect her for that. And her buddy, Dean, or boyfriend, I don't even know what, he's always at her side. He's constantly helping her out. So she does a couple of cast calls, and she kind of gets the jobs, and she kind of gets the more front-running loads, and her colleagues and associates, like Jenna Malone, they get a little more pissed off the fact that she's kind of stealing their thunder, and she kind of appears out of nowhere. But she does it. Now, personally, I think she does do the job right out of the gate, and she's more attractive than her colleagues and her cohorts, but they've been in the industry longer than her, so of course they feel like they deserve something a little bit more. So, I don't want to give away too many spoilers. This is really going to bother me. So she does a couple of jobs. She meets up with some more photographers that are constantly berating women, saying they need, you know, they're doing too much with their cosmetic surgery or implants and nip tucks and blah, 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 blah. But she has this thing about her. So one night, this is when things really start to escalate, and this is the one spoiler I'm going to give to you. She has an experience where she goes to bed one night in a really piece of crap apartment and has a dream of Keanu Reeves making her swallow a knife. Literally, in a very grotesque fashion. And somebody's trying to break into her apartment when she wakes up from it. Maybe it's Keanu Reeves, we don't know. But this is when the whole dark tones kind of comes into gear. But it's very subtly done. So she barricades her apartment and overhears her neighbor bad things happening to her. Anyway, so she goes off to her buddy and colleague's house, Ruby. Dean, Ruby. I'm seeing a very supernatural-like reference all of a sudden now that I'm thinking about it. Stop the fan fiction. So she goes off to Ruby's house to try and be safe from her. And of course, Ruby, out of nowhere, decides to try to attempt to seduce her, even though that's not Jesse's forte. So she shoves her away, and she goes off to her day job, which is at the morgue. Spoiler alert for 10 seconds. This is when things get a little visceral. Okay, you still with me? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Necrophilia. Ruby, the aspiring model, apparently, since if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with, decides to make a two-backed monster, shall we say, with the corpse while fantasizing it with Jesse. Hooray for necrophilia! Well, it's like I said, it's Steve Stills. I gotta tell you, I can't listen to that song for a couple of days now just to get that out of my system. But luckily, that was kind of the worst of it before we get to the end. So, that being said, she goes through, like I said, all these photo shoots, and she's given the top roles to it. And all of her colleagues are really pissed off about it, which kind of makes sense to some degree. I would be too if I was in the industry longer, but if somebody has more talent, let them do it. Let them take the role. You never know. So towards the end of the movie, I'm trying to condense this from 120 minutes, because this was a 2-hour-long movie, but the scenes were very long and drawn out, but they were done so in a good way. They weren't just kind of clipped from a 4-hour movie to a 2-hour movie like Warcraft or things like that. This was very well-paced, and all the scenes had relevance. At the end, Jessie L. Fanning, she is with her associates at a house, and they kind of talk to her about how beauty is the only thing they have. Long story short, they kill her by knocking her into a pool, and the pool is empty, and she smacks her head and dies and whatnot. So they get to the point where they bathe in her blood. I know I said in the beginning, like Elizabeth Bathory, and not only that, they eat various parts of her. I kind of, once again, going back to the Elizabeth Bathory concept, because she thought that young ladies' blood, particularly virgin's blood, would keep her young and vital, and she did that. And of course, this was before, I guess beauty objects like cold cream packets or makeup and things like that were supposed to do that sort of thing. Don't look at me. That's not the sort of thing I tap into. I'll stick to just a good shave, except for today. Hey, nothing says freedom quite like a nice 5-day-old beard. Anyway, so supposedly the end, and then a very interesting plot twist afterwards, towards the end. I'm not going to go into it, because it was really kind of cool at the ending how it just kind of made things come full circle. This whole beauty's in the eye of the beholder, obsessed to get to the top. But it couldn't have been any better. Honestly, I think Elle Fanning did a fantastic job being Jessie, being the aspiring model, trying to make it to the top, trying to overcome all the pitfalls of the industry. But things has taken such a dark and gritty approach. Just taking such a dark and gritty approach. And such almost, I wouldn't say supernatural. I know I said in the beginning Dario Argento should have directed this, but it's very his style. It's atmospheric, kind of like The Conjuring 2. It's pacing. There are no jump scares because this is not exactly a horror film. It's more psychological that taps into the darker aspect of the glit and the glam. Kind of like, the old song I'm Hating Hollywood. This is that to the nth degree. But there is blood, there is violence, there are some weird creepy scenes, like in the beginning, her apartment is ransacked by a cougar. The animal, not the person. But everything that's done about it is just done so in this very harrowing way that can only be described as unending. As soon as the opening credits start, you are immediately drawn into this dark world. Like Black Swan, but instead of Natalie Portman trying to be the ballet person, you had this group of cutthroat, literally, models trying to get to the top in a very Machiavellian-like fashion. It was a very well done movie, and I know once again you guys are going, oh my god, will you just shut up and start ranting about something? I won't, because this movie will just suck you in like $1,000 hooker, and it's done the right way. I think it's still playing in the Orlando area for another few days. If you can get up to it, do it. If not, you better see it as soon as it hits the DVDs, because I expect several awards to come from this, at least from the horror aspect. Rotten Tomatoes didn't give it the best rating, but then again, it didn't give Suspiria or Inferno or any of the Dario Argento movies high ratings. That doesn't change the fact that it's not very well done. It's low special effects. It doesn't have the kind of over-the-top effects like you might see from a horror movie like Saw or a James Wan movie. Obviously, there's some special effects because this isn't about the supernatural. This is just about the dark side of life. And it was very well done. So if you can get to it in the next few days before it drops out of the theaters, do so. And I would recommend doing it soon because I'm pretty sure some of the chairs are going to be reupholstered. At least according to what happened with a couple of my seatmates that I detected partway through it during the necrophilia scene. Sorry, that's the only other spoiler I'm going to give away is about what my seatmates did, which are not friends of mine, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so that being said, that's day one of the reviews. Expect another one tomorrow to come out, which will probably be a little more long because that's actually something I'm not looking forward to seeing. So on that note, y'all have a good 4th of July. Enjoy the warm weather if you're down here in Florida. And be safe, be smart, be aware, don't blow yourself up, and I will catch up to you guys tomorrow with the next review. Have a good night. Peace.